Hello and welcome to 10 Very Big Books, a Malazan Readthrough podcast. This week, we're talking about Gardens of the Moon. Book 4, Assassins, is not what we are talking about.
I read it a second before you said it, and I was like, no.
We're talking about Book 5, Gadrobi Hills. My name is Peter Bond. And
Happy birthday to you.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, it is my birthday, the day we are recording it. Hello.
Our little boy's a man, 18 years old today.
Something like that. A few numbers close. I've read each book in the... You really disrupted the flow. Let me give it my whole shot.
You're wearing a fucking gritty pin that says "Eat the Rich."
Well, of course. I love Gritty. Go Flyers. Go,
Holy fuck, I need that pin
Broad Street
so
Bullies.
bad.
Anyway, my name is Peter Bond. I've read each book in the main series. However, my two co-hosts have not. With me today is my friend and closest confidant, India Jones.
Happy birthday, Peter.
And the Jagat tyrant of this podcast, Joshua Dean Baker.
I'm gonna specifically not wish you a happy birthday.
Oh, bold, gutsy play.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
All right. If you ask me, but the introduction has already taken too long, and I'm going to get straight into it,
I've always said the best way to get straight into it is to preface by saying you're gonna get straight into it.
Well, I just wanted to let everyone know I was taking the most expedient route.
It takes the least amount of time.
And it needed a quick anyway. Chapter 14. In the Gadrobi Hills, our characters near collision. Tool speaks with the adjunct Lorne about the Barrow. He believes it to be in the Jacket's elder warren, Amtos Philak. The Talana Mass believes he can reach it through the Talan warren. Kruppa, Murillo, Cole all ride together with Crocus to protect him. Sari follows them out of the city, slipping into the Warren of Shadows. Tool and Lorne find the stone marker and make camp. Lorne reflects on the Talan, human in their pursuit of conquest, and the Jagat tyrant succumbing to the same pursuit. Perrin and Tak ride together, perhaps towards an ambush. Josh, about chapter 14, I know you said you have a question or two. Is it about the Warrens, about Lorne, the Talan? What's on your mind, my man?
Yeah, so I guess I don't even know where to begin. So this was the first chapter, because I'll tell you, we're in chapter 14, and until now, with the exception of a couple of this kind of confused me, I felt pretty good about this. And then the beginning of this chapter, I felt so out of my depth. Because suddenly it's there's different powers in terms of warrens, and also they can be physical places, but maybe not physical places, and also the Talana Moss are So I guess my question is, so Tool and Lorne are talking about the purpose of why they're finding the jacket, which I was that's a pretty important thing to talk about. And Tool's well, I've been told to. And Lorne's by who? And he's well, by my people and the Empress. And he definitely implies that there's a probably a 50-50 shot that they both die and the entire world gets destroyed or some cataclysmic event happens. And so
Sure.
Which
sounds about right.
Which leads me to a couple questions. A, we haven't I know we haven't seen the Empress in a while, so I'm gonna guess that we don't really have any insight into their reason why they're doing this. And B, how powerful are the Jaghut that this one is it seems like God tier, but maybe better than God tier?
Can I actually tack on to that question?
Sure, and then I'll give you. I think I have a strong answer so far, but let's see what Inge adds.
Yeah. Okay. So when I read it too, though, the Jaghut people seemed like a peaceful people. Or maybe I was reading it wrong.
No, you're pretty spot on. Continue.
Yeah. So they seemed like a very peaceful people, and this guy, there was some. I don't know. They enslaved. I feel like all of the Jaghut people, the Talani Mass people.
Mm-hmm. Can kind of continue.
And then this big mean tyrant guy, they were all a peaceful people, but he, in the pursuit for power, turned into a human or something.
Pretty much. I'm loving this. Keep going.
And he turned it, and that's why she's so like floored by this, because she's like, oh my god, like I don't know why he's such a huge tyrant if it's like we all are that tyrant. It was what seemed to be her realization, like we all are the worst people in the world. We all have the same pursuit. We're all destined for the same, all of us to be enslaved thing. Maybe not. That's what I got from it.
Actually, Inge, you pretty much got a lot of it.
Woo! Woo!
But like, let me just rejigger it a little bit to kind of answer Josh's question. And I think it would be best if AJ drops in a guitar lick, because I think we should go to the Bone Zone. So, thousands of years ago, right? There are India, you are correct. The Jagat are a peaceful people.
Woo!
They're very reclusive. They don't like hang out in society. They're like individual people.
Yes.
And the Imass are like, we should go to war against these people because they're like kind of human-like, and that's what kind of Lauren is reflecting on and what you're talking about. They're like, oh, we should conquer people. It's like inherent in humans or whatever. It's what Lauren posits. So that's how they kind of end up doing the ritual of Talan and becoming this undead army so they can pursue this forever war against the Jagat, right? But this tyrant is particularly bad because, like, what they're talking about is that he was not antisocial. He decided to join the world of tyranny and, like, try and conquest things himself, which is a very un-Jagat-like thing to do. So he, like, succumbed to that same pursuit.
Mm-hmm. So why is he so much stronger than, like, anyone else, though?
Well, because Jagat are very strong. So basically they're like because they're part of these elder founding races. And that's kind of to speak to what Josh was talking about. There are some Warrens that are older than other Warrens.
Right.
So the Warren of the Jagat.
Isn't that the first Warren?
Yes, the Frostwright Warren. Amtos Falak is like super ancient, as opposed to younger Warrens like the Warren of Shadow or something.
Mm-hmm.
You pulled Amtos Falak just out of your asshole just then. I'm so impressed.
It's a very big Warren. You should get it in there. Really commit it.
All right.
So Josh, how much did that clarify?
That did help a bunch. I guess it's just I think Lorne is in this part of the chapter very confused, and I think I was feeling a lot of her disillusionment with like what their purpose was, and that kind of like was kind of me. It was also kind of affecting me and how I was interpreting things.
I feel like she's also seems to be having like a change of heart this time around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really am. This read through, as opposed to the first one, which I was much more confused about, obviously. I feel like I'm really following Lauren's journey more, and about how, like, she's kind of having this mental... She's really she's like, what are we doing?
Yes!
Humans are so corrupt.
I thought I was not gonna like Lauren in this chapter. Like, she is slowly coming around.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm still not pro-Lauren, because she's like, we should still release the dude, out for this...
Orders are orders.
Yeah. Before we move on, I want to at least talk about what I like about this chapter is like, it's the first time, and throughout this whole section, that like all of our characters kind of start to be in the same place. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
And I just enjoyed the tension of knowing that like Sari's there, Crocus there's Tool there, Perrin's there, it's just like all of these people are piling in. And to me, I just felt this growing like, well, like you obviously know they're going to meet up in some sort of cocktail of danger. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, she's
so.
What is her name? Lorne?
Lorne?
She is lethal. Which
oh yeah.
I was like, I was not expecting her to go in there and be like, okay, you, and then she was like, and I'm not gonna kill you because there's no point. I'm just a nice person and I'm not here to do that.
Yeah, you're talking about when she kind of gets in that melee, right?
That's like next chapter.
It's a perfect opportunity to go there, Josh. That's right.
That's what I'm here for.
Alrighty, but it's a big one, so let's buckle in. Chapter 15. Quick Ben senses Hairlock is afoot. The mad puppet ambushes both Perrin and Tak the Younger. Tak is thrown into a warren, and Perrin prepares to counterstrike. However, they both hear the howling of hounds. Lorne attacks Kruppa and allies. Lorne wounds Cole, and Murillo strikes her in return. Kruppa's magic is nullified by the adjunct's Ototero sword. Lorne rides away as Sari approaches. Hairlock heads towards the Hound, but his access to the Warren is cut off by Quickben, so the Hounds of Shadow make quick work of him. The Hounds, including Gear, turn towards Perrin, but Anomander Rake descends next to him, forbidding House Shadow to intervene in the Tisty Andy's conflict with the Empire. After Anomander slays 2 Hounds, Shadow Throne arrives. The Ascendant says he is not meddling with the conflict, however, Cotillion is. After a discussion, Shadow Throne agrees to withdraw Cotillion and leaves with his hounds. Anomander Rake expels Opon from Perrin. However, his sword is still influenced by the Twins of Chance. In the remnants of the battlefield, Perrin laments Tak and puts his hand on the blood of the Hound of Shadow. He follows the Hound's soul into the Warren of Dragnapur. Anomander's Rake's sword is a warren in and of itself. The souls of the slain pull a wagon by chains in eternal torment. Perrin summons Opon from his blade and threatens the god to free the Hounds of Shadow from Dragnapur. Opon agrees, and Perrin has severed his connection from the god. He returns to the Gadrobi Hills, and the Hounds' corpses have gone. Kruppa and friends come to their senses after their defeat. They notice Sari on a hilltop. They go to speak to her, and she remembers nothing but being in a fishing village next to a wax switch.
Can I just say, really quickly,
Jump in there.
the
water's fine.
Yeah, the water is hot. So let me say, this chapter was actually really interesting. But before we go, and I know we have to start from the beginning and go in a sequential way, but I just need to say the saddest thing of this chapter was those freaking dogs dragging that cart and not knowing why. I wanted to cry.
It was brutal.
What was just the kind of agony of it?
Oh my god, it's like they were pulling, the skin around their necks was ripped, they were sad. I was like, oh my god. And I don't even know why he had this like, I should probably like get these dogs out of any person that was there, but I'm just so happy he did. And you didn't mention that it's not even known for sure if he did or not, but I choose to believe he did. That's it.
Wow. Well, a lot to jump in, and I guess we could have gone in chronological order, but I guess since we're talking about...
No, maybe we should. I just really wanted to mention that.
I mean, it's a big piece of meat, so maybe we should take it one flank at a time. So, Josh, what did you... We see the end of the Mad Puppet Hairlock. Was your heart just as moved as the puppet wizard was defeated?
You know, I've always said that if Pinocchio is evil, I would have put that movie as number 1 for me. And so, yes, I was pretty devastated with Hairlock's demise.
I mean, you really fished. You really fished there.
Fuck
so.
that guy.
Are you being sarcastic? Because I was so happy.
That's being very sarcastic. Hairlock is an asshole and deserved to die.
Yeah.
He threw Tuck the Younger into a warren.
That was
What the
so
fuck?
mean. That was so freaking mean. Tuck
Tuck the
doing
Younger is
cartwheels
my
through
boy,
the air
and he
into
better
a
not be
warren.
dead, Peter. Peter, blink twice if he's alive. He looked away.
He looked
Smart
away.
move.
That
Okay,
My poker face is unreadable.
He has to be alive, but still, not cool.
I don't know where the Warrens of Chaos, maybe? Who knows? Maybe Quickben finds him.
Quickben was like
Quickben
so, he was so
says-
ready.
He says some shit, though. He's like, I didn't react fast enough to save the Opon's pawn's friend, or some bullshit.
Oh,
Can we just unpack something?
hit me.
Quickben,
Shoot.
I'm confused because I thought that they were all friends, but it appears that perhaps they're not. Quickben, Tuck.
Quickben's friend with...
Tuck, and
Oh.
Perrin.
Well, I would say they're more allies.
Ooh,
but
can I, because it's my first time reading, am I correct in that Quickben never actually met Perrin while Perrin was conscious?
I think they do meet in Pale.
But I don't think
So-
they meet. I think he sees him, but I think Perrin's unconscious, right? Because Perrin is unconscious after being killed.
Attacked by the Hound of Shadow.
That's the first time he comes
I know
back.
what you mean, but it would be a matter of whether he met him when he initially arrived in the city. And I think that you're right, there's a chance he just met Whiskey Jack.
Yeah, I don't think he even met Whiskey Jack, did he? Doesn't he just meet... He doesn't meet Whiskey Jack. Doesn't he just meet the healer?
I thought he did
Ballot?
meet Whiskey Jack. Doesn't he mention getting back to him?
I think he
meeting
does
him
meet
and
he
stuff?
Whiskey
does meet
Jack.
Whiskey Jack. You're right, he does.
And then I think it's like walking home that he gets shanked by Sorry.
I think you're right, okay.
Freaking sorry. She's so crazy.
But I would say, I think India, I think it's more that Quick Ben just took a chance. Like, he knew that this was the best opportunity to take out
But
Hairlock.
how did he know? That's what I'm confused about. He wasn't even there.
Because Hairlock had not been staying in this, like, mortal plane of existence. He'd been hopping in and out of his warren, and it was only when he was, like, going to kill Perrin that he was on this plane for more than a second.
So when he says he touched...
And you'll remember, Quick Ben went into the Warren of Shadows, and remember was like with Shadow Throne. He was like, "Yo, this puppet's the one. Like, we gotta let's shank this puppet. I'll tell you whenever he comes back to the mortal world." So then, as soon as he arrived, Quick Ben was like, "Yo, this is where he is." Hence all the Hound of Shadows.
Yeah. Correct.
And I think he wants Hairlock gone because Hairlock's like a loose cannon who doesn't play by the rules. But in the worst, in a not sexy cop way, like in the worst way possible.
Right. Yeah, he's a little unhinged. He's a little unwound.
He's a little high strung.
Ah, that was the one. Okay. Wait. So Peter, and Josh actually, because I'm sure you could shed more light into this than I can. So what? So he was like cutting his marionette strings or something. Like what did he mean? He was cutting the strings. And then he fell, and he was like, "Help, I can't get up. Don't let me die."
I think it has to do with the gut strings that he was using to communicate with him.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not 100%. Honestly, I'm really deep in the weeds trying to find out if Quick Ben spoke with Perrin. Because I actually think there's a chance he didn't.
I don't think he did.
I may have to move on or resolve to find this.
Here, I'll take here. I got it. I'll take over your job for a second.
Don't do an impression.
I wasn't going to, but now I really wanna.
Yeah. Well, okay.
All right.
So India, let's hop into your scene you were talking about earlier. Tell me about Lorne's fight with the squad. I've dubbed them.
So Lauren's sitting there lamenting, feeling sorry about life is what I assume, just like, And then so she sees those people and she's like, "Oh God, why did she immediately attack? Why did they? I don't understand the whole. I forget actually.
Well, she like regretted it afterwards, right?
Because she was like, I should have used my words. I think.
Yeah, because I mean, like she's in a tense situation. Like if anyone found her with the Talana mask, she has to kill them. But I think it was just one of those things where she's been on edge for so many days that like saw people, killed people, or attempted to.
Yeah, well, I mean, granted, they attacked back. So had they? Because as soon as
I mean, if some crazy lady with a sword starts swinging it at you, you gotta fight back.
I know, but Crocus, he used his noggin and he's like, "Hey, we'll leave. Like we don't have to stay here." And she was
We're
like,
out of here.
She was like, "Yeah, get out." And he was like, "All right." And then they were like, "Okay," and they came to a nice conclusion.
Which I think is really...
I think it says a lot about how useful and convenient Crocus is to be on this journey with them. Like, they're there to save him, and he ended up saving them.
I like that.
Thank you.
And more importantly, I'm back in the conversation to put a pin in it. I believe Quick Ben meets with Mallet and Tattersail to help Perrin recover, but he is unconscious. And I don't know if they've spoken consciously. I could be wrong.
Great.
Someone will tell us on Reddit.
Yeah. Anyway, I really like this fight scene. Lorne is sick in it, and I like that.
So sick.
It's the first time I think we see. It's not the first time. I just like Otaterral swords. So every time they're around, I'm like, "Here, we're doing it." So I'm always psyched about.
I gotta say, I've been really like weirdly hyped to see Kruppa do anything that isn't talking,
right?
And him being immediately useless because of the sword was great for me.
And that's like, in my mind, totally fitting. You know, it's like Kruppa is somewhat all talk, and so it's like, I mean, I don't know, it's just nice that it makes somewhat sense to me, so I just kind of like that beat.
Yeah.
Now that sword, it like cancels out his magic.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Perrin's sword is like that too. That's kind of how, and it was blessed by Opan, so it's kind of helped anyway.
Which is funny because earlier when they're traveling there, he's like, "We don't need weapons, you fools, you big idiots." And little do they know.
Little do they know. Alrighty, so then we see the hounds there, but then Anomander Rake arrives.
Who has other names that are what, please?
Anomander Rake, Lord of Moonspawn, Son of Darkness, Knight of Darkness.
Okay, so is there really a darkness, or is he just a son of a random darkness?
Well, remember, they're like, the Tistiande are born of darkness, and even from the last chapter, Tool talks about them, they're like not being from this world, they're from the Warren of Dark, Kurald Ghislaine, so they like showed up on the moon, you know, So he is like the son of darkness.
Okay, yes, that makes sense.
Yes, so there is darkness, and he is of it.
Okay, cool. And then quickly, what is that word? Tistiandi.
Yeah.
In my audiobook, he says the Tistiandi.
Andy E.
Oh.
Andy and A-E. And A-E.
I?
And then you know what he also says? We say ganois. He says ganois.
Oh, can I just say real quick, I was just browsing the subreddit and someone was complaining specifically about how we say Ganois, so I guess it is Ganoes.
It's Ganois.
Us almost.
Yes.
Yeah, it's ganois.
Ganois.
Ganoes?
Ganois.
Alright, here, let me give a shout out to the guy that was really upset with us.
Yeah, we're really sorry.
User Dom18. Our bad.
Sure. But I just feel like I'm always... No, we don't need to get into the pronunciation game. I got so many thoughts. Like, we just need to move on.
Pronunciation Nation.
No, this is not a new segment I'm trying to get into.
I want Pronunciation Nation to be a thing all the time.
Anyway, so Josh, we see Anomander Rake have this conversation with Shadow Throne, and it's kind of one of the confrontations between the various ascendants who have a stake in the conflict here in Darujistan. What did you think about it? And what did you think about Shadow Throne saying that Cotillion is involved, not him? Any takes?
So I think my biggest take was, because ascendants at this point I feel like are still a pretty loosely defined thing for me. And
don't worry, they're going to stay that way, so.
Yeah, this was one of the moments that we get to see two of them. And my first thought was, are they all of a similar power? Are there some, because I was thinking about it, and, what we know of the one is that he's, the Warren of Shadows and commands these, sick hounds and has an assassin god. And the other one has a sword that is literally an entire Warren of magic.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and then I was like, first off, want to see these two fight, that'd be sick. Second thought was, is this, some shit where, if they fight, the landscape gets leveled, and, so we avoid Ascendants fighting at all time? Because someone in an earlier chapter mentioned that, their plan was to bring Ascendants into the battle as a way to maybe stall the Malazan Empire or something. And I was like, is it because they will literally just level shit? I'm very interested in knowing their power levels.
Yes, I do not recall who was speaking about it, but they were speaking about trying to bring more ascendants to Darujistan.
Yes.
Specifically, who is having that conversation eludes me.
Yeah.
While we're on the topic, can you actually unpack that for me, as in who is Cotillion and Shadow Throne has dogs.
Cotillion is the Rope, the assassin of High House Shadow.
They did call him the Rope.
That's his thing. So he's been around before, and you'll remember he is the one who's been possessing Sari.
Uh-huh.
So he works with Shadow Throne, and you remember they were together in the fishing village at the very beginning, right? So then Anomander Rake is like, yo, you need to not be messing with us. And he's like, Shadow Throne's like, it's not me, it's Cotillion, but he'll get out of here too. So then Cotillion bounces, and Sari doesn't remember where she's been, right, at the end of the chapter.
You know what's so funny is that literally, that whole thing, that is 3 events that all make up one big thing. That happened, then this happened, then that happened. But if you didn't tell me that, those would have been 2 complete unrelated events this whole time.
There you go.
Wow, a light bulb went off. Oh my god. Cotillion and Shadow Person are boys. They hang out, they ride horses together.
They are boys, that's for sure.
Anomander Rake, which I found out I think is 2. Anomander and then Rake.
Yeah.
2 names.
Correct.
Amazing. He seems like a pretty cool guy.
He's chill.
But is he? Because he literally does not. He doesn't kill people. He just makes them live in eternal suffering.
Well, it's true. It's pretty goth in some way. That is true.
When I read, well, I'll wait for Josh for the.
No, Josh took a phone call. He can go stuff it. We're Peter and India hour as far as I'm concerned.
It is the PB and J section.
Yeah.
Okay. So he touches the blood, and then out of nowhere, he's in another place. Let me tell you, reading that, hearing that in audiobook was like, let me go back. Let me go back. Because I was like, what? You can't just be one place and then be somewhere else. But he was. So he's in there.
I remember being so stoked when it first happened. Although it's somewhat confusing because he gets there via blood.
I know.
I just remember learning, like, oh my god, the sword is a Warren. That is the coolest fucking thing that there could be.
But also the fact that, like, they, like, when they're talking, Shadowthorn's like, so there's no chance that my dogs won't be in eternal hell, and he's like, yeah, no. And I was like, what does that mean? And then they take you there.
Yeah, they're like, oh, here's the eternal suffering.
I was like, oh my, but, why do you think that Perrin had that, like, I don't, like, what, did he have, like, a change of, like, he had beef with that cute little dog.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Why was he, like,
maybe we should wait for Josh. Josh is really taking a longer time than I thought he would.
yeah, we're really unpacking this. Well, let's, okay.
Really at a crossroads.
I know, we'll just wait. But it was sad, and I really do hope that those dogs are a better place now. He didn't have to do that. He could have killed one.
He could have killed one.
Or he could have just not. He was like, I'm a patient guy, but don't fuck with me. And then boom.
Yeah.
What else did I want to ask about in this moment? Okay, so Tisty and DE.
Yeah, it's so. I guess I'll have to go back and listen.
So there's two currently that we talk to.
There's pretty much one. Who's the other one you're thinking of?
What is Tool?
Tool's Talani Mass. He's one of the undead people.
Fuck. Right. I got those names mixed up. Okay. So what's the difference?
The Talani Mass are an ancient people of this world. Do you know what I mean? And they like
current world. Yeah,
they pretty much used to be humans, and then they became skeletons because they wanted to be forever warriors. Do you know what I mean? So they could kill the Jagat. So it's like they became undead in their pursuit of conquest. Do you know what I mean?
That was so short-sighted.
It was, yeah. It was, the long con was not there. I mean, I guess in some way, because they've been able to live forever, but I don't know.
But, like, don't they just, like,
it's like they didn't read Tuck Everlasting.
In the ground?
Do you know what I mean?
Like,
it's like,
yeah,
what do you have to live for? Anyway.
And then
it's like I was saying, Josh Sim was back. It's like I was saying earlier, like, Tool talks about it. The Tisty Andy are, like, from another world, essentially.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
So, like, they're from the Warren of Dark. Do you know how, like, when they go to, you know how, like, when they go to the Imperial Warren, they're just, like, using it to travel, and it's just an empty world no one lives in? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the Tisty Andy used to live in the Warren of Darkness, but now they don't. You know, they like came over on their moon, and it was like, here's the 50 of us, we're done, or whatever. You know, I think there's more than 50, but so there's very few. They're aliens, immigrants to this world.
Okay, and they left because they're Princess Moon Mama, right?
Yeah, they had a beef with their mom.
Yeah, and they were like, and Mom was like, guys, you're not satisfying me. I want humans, right? Was that what it was?
Basically, their mom, like, gave birth to another race of people, and they were like, see ya, we're never coming back.
Fuck you, Mom.
See ya, Mom.
And then they all left.
Yeah, so, like, she gave birth to this other race, and they're a big deal, as you could imagine, so.
Yeah, and so then that's, okay.
Don't worry, in the span of the next 9 very big books, we will get a chance to meet some of the other race of people.
That's really exciting. I was wondering why they were setting us up for a random extra race of people.
Yeah, so there's plenty. If you were hoping there could be more races for you to keep track of, don't worry, Inge.
Yeah, I was really, but the Tisty and DE and the Talani Mass, those really got me. I truly thought they were the same people the whole time.
Nah. Don't worry though, because like they're probably 2 of the most important races. Do you know what I mean?
So with that said, then this Jagat tyrant,
sure.
So the Tisty Andy or the Talani Mass can kill him or enslave him.
Well, so basically he's like super, super powerful, much more than these humans are. So all the humans are like, well, I don't know. Maybe one of these other people will be able to do it. Not us. You know what I mean?
Yes. Right.
But they're worried because the Jagat's so powerful and he like enslaves people. So he's like, well, if he enslaves everyone, the world's forever fucked. Do you know what I mean?
Correct. And so is what's her name? Lorne. Is her little conflict like, oh my god, like you guys made yourself bone people and we're gonna make ourselves slaves forever? Or is that not her gripe?
I think her gripe is more like an existential one. She's like, wow, you like almost what you're saying is like you guys gave up your lives for this eternal conquest. How are humans that much different? You know what I mean? Like she's in this arm.
Well, because they are too, aren't they?
Yeah, like the Empire is similar in this way that there's this forever thirst for more, you know?
And they would like they would choose being potentially enslaved over.
They wouldn't. They wouldn't choose. They're not looking to get enslaved.
Right, but they know that's an option, right? They know that's a possibility, don't they?
Well, yeah, but that's because they're like, Lysine is like, she's making a big play, you know? She's like, screw the consequences. I'm going to make this choice.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That's the choice.
Yeah, but it's like she's betting on that she's not going to get conquered. She just is like playing with fire. Do you know what I mean?
And then when Lauren says in like response, like, "Oh, she has some big enemies." Who are the enemies that she's talking about?
Lysine, is that who? But Lysine's enemies are like Anomander Rake and the city of Darujistan. Do you know what I mean? Like Anomander Rake has a whole beef with the Empire.
And that's why Perrin's like, "Oh, I don't even know if I don't like him anymore. Like, why is he my beef?"
Exactly. So he's like, oh well, this dude helped me out, and I don't know if I want to be his enemy. He seems
and
like,
then he's like, "I don't want any enemies.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to live."
Yeah, Perrin's like this. Perrin's a little confused here when he meets Anomander.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Everybody's getting confused.
Yeah.
You know, Peter, honestly, we're unpacking this chapter so well. I feel so enlightened.
I agree. I think we're having a great conversation, and
Josh should be coming
Josh
back
is back.
shortly.
Let me just say, when a parent starts off, I thought about emailing you, but it just seemed, no! It is not easier for you to call me at 7 p.m. at night. What the fuck?
Well, Josh, me and India had a lengthy conversation. I don't know.
Did you record stuff while I was gone? That's sick, if so.
I don't know how much is going to end up in there, but let me throw you this question. We started to talk a little bit about the Warren inside Dragnipur and the Hounds in it. What did you think? India was curious about what kind of led to Perrin's mindset in the Warren and why maybe he tried to free the dog and all these choices he makes in there.
I have no fucking clue.
But wasn't it beautiful?
It was beautiful, but the entire time, I was like, Perrin, these dogs have tried 2 times to kill you and those around you. And what the fuck? It made no sense. I was pretty upset with him.
Josh, we are having a very, very different mindset here because those dogs, they're just doing what they were told.
They were doing what they were told when they killed Hairlock, and then they were like, round 2, and Anomander Rake was like, if you round 2, I will send some of you to my eternal pulling hell, and they were like, what the fuck ever.
They're just dogs.
They are fully conscious, cognizant creatures.
And they were also that while they were being tortured in eternal hell, pulling a wagon.
As was everyone
they didn't know why they were pulling.
I'm sorry, just because they're good boys doesn't mean that they get a pass.
They are such good boys.
Good boys.
I guess, clearly clearly India's a sucker for a puppy, but I guess I'm curious.
So is Perrin because he called them beautiful beasts. I'm just saying.
Listen, I get freeing them. But I would be curious to see, like, other people were pulling it. Do you know what I mean? So, like,
and he even talked to one.
Yeah, he did have a whole conversation with a mysterious stranger.
I'm so curious about that. Oh my god.
Yeah, mysterious stranger. But then he's like, but I don't know. This guy could have been a tyrant.
It's true.
I've got to know.
But, like, was he? Like, who knows? Maybe Anomander Rake had an off day, and he just said, bye.
Yeah. The question would really come down to, who are these people, and do you believe in Anomander Rake's justice?
And who is he to make that decision?
Here's my other thing, is people change, in particular Anomander Rake, right? Like, I imagine he's changed over the years, but he
does live forever.
He did explicitly state that, like, once you're in, like, that's it. So does that mean, like, when he was, like, 13, if he just, like, got pissed at someone and killed them, he can't get them out? Or does he mean that, like, in order for his justice to maintain the standards, he can never let himself take somebody out? Thoughts, Peter?
I do hear what you're saying, that you probably think morally Anomander Rake could have changed from when he first acquired Dragnipur until the present day. And perhaps he made some rash judgments in his earlier days of having a sword. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, if I may.
Please, I don't have a strong answer, so please take it.
Well, like, Perrin.
Ganois.
Yeah, Ganois. He brought in that luck guy, Opan, and he was like, get him out now.
And he was like, free of Opan's control.
And he was like, I can't. And he was like, do it. Just frickin' do it. And then
Do
he was
it.
like, all right. And then, we don't know if he was able to or not, but if he was.
But he wakes
You know,
up
then
and
I
all the
guess-
corpses are gone,
I know, but you know what? I just really hope he did. But if he did, then I guess there is a way to get him out. People out.
Yeah.
That's my take.
Well,
Wait, but isn't there something... Sorry, Peter. Isn't there like a warren inside the warren?
what do you mean?
And that's where all the chains are? Like all the chains are in something else?
Yeah, that was confusing as all hell.
Yeah, the chains lead to somewhere, come from somewhere.
Right. And he was like, I can't get it off. So I don't know. This was too much. Again, as always,
Big
too
chapter.
much detail.
Big chapter.
Yeah.
And with
Chugging
that,
right along.
the final scene we see is kind of Sari standing on a hilltop, coming to her senses and thinking about her the last memory being from an Itkokan fishing village. India, thoughts about this picking up with a kind of hazy Sari?
Oh my goodness. Sorry, as always, my favorite character. Always something new with Sorry. Something's always going on with Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. So, Sorry coming to as whoever she was before, I don't even know if we knew her name.
We
was
don't.
really, yeah, we don't, and neither does she. I thought it was crazy because first she had come to kill Crocus, and now she's like rolling up like, I don't even know who I am, where am I, help. But as you helped me to understand, when they decided that Cotillion, they were like, Anomander Rake was like, hey, stop messing around out there, and Cotillion was like, all right, fine, backing off, and then now Sari has her memory gone for
this whole timeline.
Mind. Yeah, she has her whole mind back. I'm just intrigued to see, I don't know, like what she remembers, if she ever remembers anything, or just to find out who she is, because she seems like kind of a little bitch.
What?
Agreed.
What led you to that? What are we doing?
Well, I say that because she's like, oh, help me, I'm sorry, and before she was like such a stone cold fox, and now, but I do want to say, and I want to make it very clear, and I want to say it loud and proud, I told you guys in one of my predictions that Crocus and Sari were gonna be an item, and all I'm saying is that it's looking like that's happening.
I believe you said Perrin and Sari would be an item.
That is true.
In your first ever guess.
Are you, what about later on when Crocus
I do
rolled
think,
into the
I don't know,
picture?
India's definitely thrown a lot of romance-based guesses, so we may have to check the tape and get
Specifically
back
for
to it.
Sari, yeah.
If I did, which I feel like I did, yeah. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited to see. I mean, is she from anywhere near Darujistan at all? Because she seems
it's like they mentioned it. Isn't it like super far away?
Super far away. Itkokan is near the imperial capital, which is
All right.
not near
That's
here.
another continent, isn't it?
Yeah, there's oceans between.
Damn.
Yeah.
But speaking of predictions, there's a prediction I wanted to talk about in the next chapter. So let's talk more about Sari and predictions in chapter 16. Chapter 16. Lorne returns to Toul. The two prepare to enter the Talon Warren and free the Jagat tyrant. Crocus and the fisher girl from Itkokan ride towards Darujistan. She struggles to remember who she is. Crocus jokingly suggests the name of the Lady of Thieves, Apsalar. She decides to use this as her name. Kruppa and Murillo follow after Crocus, leaving Cole in camp to recover with his wounds. Kruppa feels safe in his assumption that the Malazans are looking for the barrow of the Jagat tyrant. Perrin heads towards the city, encountering some of the Rivi people. A young woman hints at the reunion with someone he thought was dead. Then the native people travel towards Caladan Brood. Perrin continues towards the city and meets up with Cole. They're strangers at first, but commiserate about their pasts. Perrin speaks about being a Malazan captain who has worked with the Claw. Cole speaks of his past, as once a nobleman in the city. Arranged for marriage and on a path towards wealth. However, his heart led him elsewhere, to the woman who would become the Lady Simtal. She betrayed him, and he lost his titles and estate. Now he lives an unknown life at the Phoenix Inn. We can get to the end in a second, but before we did, I just wanted to share something that I noticed when I was rereading it, and I guess I can share it to the two of you now, because it's not particularly spoiling going to be the rest of the book, but I noticed in chapter 2 that the first thing Sari says is in the entire book is "I'm sorry," and
Oh.
she's like apologizing to the soldiers who are going to later like strike down the wax witch. So I just thought it was kind of, I think it's a little nod by Erickson. I thought it was fun. So the two of you, when you're rereading this 5 years from now, can take note of that.
And she also, when she says I'm sorry to Crocus, that's when she's like, oh, or he says I'm sorry to her, and she's like, oh, that was my name, sorry.
Yeah. And Josh, but now she decides to take the name Apsalar.
Yes.
The Lady of Thieves. So what do you
add another name?
What do you another name? What do you think about Sari now that she's kind of coming back to her wits?
Well, number one, as India pointed out, bit of a bitch. Well, because she's like, Crocus is like, oh, well, there's Apsalar, and she's like, oh, and he's like, well, that's the name of, the Lady of Thieves, like a god. How about we change it? And she's like, no, my name is Apsalar. And it's like, all right, well,
she's taking a strong stance. She was taking strong stances 2 chapters ago. What changed?
Yeah, I know, which just makes me think that this is going to lead to her becoming some bullshit intertwined with the Lady of Thieves or something. It's going to be a whole thing. I'm calling it now.
He's calling
Crocus
it now.
is a lad of thieves, so when they get married.
I do not know what you're implying.
So India.
Oh, you're just implying that they're gonna get married?
I just feel like there's gonna be some kind of romance. I'm calling it now.
Listen, they're gonna fuck. There's no 2 ways about it.
That's right.
India.
Peep.
Now, India, now hold up.
No, all right.
I'm gonna take us on a trip. We're gonna go to India. India, we're taking a trip to the bone zone.
No. Oh, no.
But
I'm changing the subject.
Hit me with it.
The adjunct Lorne and Tool head off to free the Jagat Tyrant. I know it's not the end of the podcast, but do you want to hazard a guess on how this Jagat Tyrant situation is going to pan out for them?
That's hella stressful because I feel like these books, as you guys frequently mention, they have like a kind of thing that happens, like you can kind of call certain situations, and I feel like this might be one of them, or maybe it really isn't, but I have no idea. I feel like I don't know how there's 10 books, so he can't enslave everyone, or he can. I don't know. So there's nothing coming from me. I have no prediction. I wish I did, but I just don't know.
Do you think it's a good idea?
You know what? We could try anything once. We'll see what happens.
Well,
that's
what
people say before they do like shrooms. India, not like not unleashing a like borderline of mortal evil onto the world.
Alrighty, Josh. Before I ask you about the final section, I just wanted to Josh deserves his first kudos, whatever we're gonna hand out when someone calls the shot. So Josh, I don't know if you remember, like 2-3 episodes ago, when we first meet the Lady Simtal, she's talking about how she stole someone's money. And then in the podcast, while recording it, you were like, oh, did she steal Cole's money? Is that who Cole is? And I was like, I have no memory. So if you're correct, then you've surprised me as well. And you were correct. Josh from downtown, big money, 3 points from the chalk, in the end zone, botched it a little bit. So, Josh, what do you think about learning more about Cole and his kind of past as a nobleman?
Well, I mean, considering when we met him, he literally was like a joke. Like he was at the end of a chapter, like mentioned that he's a drunk. It's like pretty wild that his backstory is so intertwined. And my real hope is because it's like we've met several people in the council, and I think they're all human garbage. So I can only hope that Cole manages to like win back some support and like lead a revolt against them or some bullshit, and maybe strike a peace with the Malazan Empire. Who knows?
Who knows?
Whoa.
That's a big shot for me. We'll see how it pans out.
India, any thoughts on these 2 ships passing in the night?
What ships?
Metaphorical ships, Inge. Metaphorical ships.
Oh, those 2 guys meeting, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel really bad for Cole, actually. His story was really sad, and the fact that like all of his friends didn't even stand by him was so shitty, man, and but he needs to like, pull his shit together, go home.
Snakes.
They are snakes. They are. Can't trust no one.
That's exactly right.
But I don't know, like he's with Perrin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they're just going to go together back home to Darujistan and fuck shit up. How they're gonna fuck it up, I don't know. Will they be boys? Maybe. They seem like they have a lot in common. Except, however, it seems that I don't know.
But speaking of Perrin, before
yeah.
Yes. I wanted to ask, assumingly what you were gasping about his encounter with the young woman in the
Them
Rivy
Rivies.
tribes.
Yes, he saw his lady, Tattersail, baby-sized.
Yeah. Very young.
5 years old.
Very young Rivy Tattersail. Josh?
Perfect English.
Inge, what do you think? Either of you.
Loved it. Lived for it.
It was great. I mean, I have a lot of questions because didn't they like insinuate that she's like gonna rapidly age until she's an adult or something?
Yeah.
Well, isn't she rapidly aging?
pretty
She's already
sick.
5.
Yeah, she's like
Yeah.
already a child.
Yeah, and she was born what, like 4 days ago or some bullshit.
Yeah, I don't
Literally.
remember when Kruppa had that dream, but it wasn't 5 years ago,
Yeah.
so that's
I mean,
for
my
sure.
question is how long before she's like back to a full-grown adult and parents like, well, I don't know what's about this. Also, I got a lot of questions about the Rivy. They seem sick.
They do, but I mean, they also seem a little uncivilized.
Well, they did try and kill Perrin, but I think it was really a test. Maybe they knew they needed to find one touched by Opon. That's the thing I just thought of right now, and I think I could be right.
I just like that they're always traveling with the herd of Bedarin. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're just chilling out here with our buffalo friends.
I love
Yeah.
that, and there's so many of them.
Yeah.
So many. They just love them.
And then the herd walks away and the people are gone, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Why? How do they just disappear like that?
They're traveling
They're
on planes. They're
elusive.
plains people. They had to go meet with Caladan Brood.
So they did say, like, whoever that old lady was like, who are your enemies? And he was like, I don't really want any. And she was like, true, you can stay. You're a good guy.
Mhm.
Who said that he was why did they think he was a bad guy?
Because he's part of the Malazans.
Oh, that was it? There was no, I thought it was specific to him.
I would imagine it's because he's kind of dressed like a Malazan, and Malazans are
Yeah.
of
Okay.
dubious morality,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Well,
So,
you know what? He's really finding himself slowly but surely. He is becoming the man that he lost a long time ago.
he's a young man finding his way in the world.
That's right. That is right. But yeah, no, that scene was sick and I loved it. And that is a first because I hate this entire book, but these chapters were kind of lit.
I do. I listen, Inge. We talked this weekend because you dropped by my house, and you keep saying these things where like I hate this book and I hate reading it, and then just like we'll go through the bullet point summary, and you're like, well, I did like that, and I did like that, and I did like, and I know I don't know. It's just there's a funny juxtaposition. I'm sure you know you have your opinion, but it's just
No, Peter, hear me out. At the start, I come into this conversation and I'm like, okay, so I listened to some words. They all, none of them really made sense, and they all mean something, but Int can't put together the pieces. And then we chat, and then everything falls into place, and it's like, oh, that actually is a good story.
the story is cohering for you.
Yes, that's the word, I guess. So yeah, so you know what? I gotta say, this was the best book yet. You heard
The
it here
best one
first.
yet. You hear that, Josh?
I mean, you said you were hyped for Gadrobi Hills, and it paid off.
It actually did. I mean, I didn't get the satisfaction I was looking for, but as in like nothing like when I first thought about this, and what I was going to say to you guys first was nothing happened in any of these chapters. But then a lot of little things happened, like, and some not so little. All the
Yeah.
pieces are falling together. We are getting closer and closer to the end.
It's true. Everyone is nearing Darujistan. Josh,
Again.
going into the penultimate book of Gardens of the Moon, did you have any big guesses about what's going to happen when all these forces finally come together inside the city?
So this Darujistan is like it has like the natural gas, right, for like the lighting of torches.
Yeah, from under the city.
My called shot is that the next book is entitled The City of Blue Fire, and I think the Malazans are gonna fuck up and realize they shouldn't use the explosives, and then they're going to destroy the city.
Interesting.
I think they're gonna like blow up the natural gas.
India, do you have any hot...
But I think in the moment, like the moment before that happens, I think they're gonna be like, so it's decided. We helped Darujistan. City explodes.
India, any takes?
That's fucked up.
Josh's
Yes.
prediction's fucked up.
Yeah, I really hope that doesn't happen. I'm hoping, like, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, though, because why else would it be titled that? But let's just say we get back. Are we all headed back? Even like, oh yeah, no, we are all headed back. We're all headed back. Okay.
The only people not headed back are Lorne and Tool, who are
Yeah, that's
going
what I was
to
gonna
unleash
say.
the Jagat Tyrant. That's where they're
Yeah.
headed.
Yeah, they're dumb as fuck.
Preach.
So, okay, yeah, you know what? Josh's prediction seems pretty good, but just in the art of competition. I'm gonna say that we're gonna get real close to blowing up, and then we are not going to. Because
subverting expectations.
Yeah, I believe we're all gonna be fine. It's gonna get real close, and then frickin', I don't know, someone's gonna come and be like, everyone, wait, I know this, so don't do that. And they're all gonna be like, okay, let's do something else. And then maybe, and I don't know what's gonna happen after that.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to see.
I can't wait.
She can't wait. You heard it here first.
I'm excited. And I'm even more excited for the small chapters coming up.
Book 6 is minuscule. Pretty hype.
And that just because book 7 is a monster.
Yeah, book 7 is going to be a good one. So I'm excited for it. Anyway, for next episode, we're going to read chapters 17, 18, and 19 in book 6, The City of Blue Fire. As always, we're on 10 Very Big Books on Twitter and at Gmail. Send us a message about what you think about the show or any thoughts about Gardens of the Moon. We'd love to hear them. Thanks again, of course, for listening, and we'll tag in when the next episode's coming out. So we'll see you soon, unless I'm missing something.
Did you tell them where to find us?
I did tell them.
Did you talk about our music?
Did you tell them we were dropping a mixtape?
Got it. You're right.
Oh, are you dropping a mixtape?
No.
That'd be big.
Funny.
It would be a choice to announce it on this podcast. So
it would be.
Alrighty. Well, that's that then. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.
We love you.
Hello, everyone. Producer AJ here. As always, we want to thank you for the continued support every day. There are more and more people listening to the show, which is just so awesome. We, of course, also want to thank Dan Gesrick for making our wonderful logo. You can follow him on Twitter at Dan Gesrick for the hottest Boban Marjanovic takes. And, of course, all the music from the show comes from Amaranthin's album Simulant Rain, which you can find on Bandcamp. Links to their pages will be in the show notes. And 10 Very Big Books will be back in 2 weeks on July 19th. Thank you, as always, for listening.